We are now witnessing the worst foreign policy disaster in half a century. This debacle in Afghanistan isn't because we decided to withdraw. We all know we couldn't stay there forever. It's because the Biden administration had a terrible plan, and it isn't because American intelligence got it wrong. It's because the Biden administration ignored clear warnings that their plan would lead to disaster. Look, Biden's withdrawal plan was built on the assumption that Afghan security forces could hold off the Taliban for at least another year. But everyone knew that the only way that they could do that was if the United States continued to provide them with airstrikes against the Taliban. The Biden plan called for scaling back and then ending air support. So in essence, the Biden plan was built on a status quo that their own plan intended to change. The intelligence agencies and senators from both parties told them that this was going to be a disaster. But they dismissed and they ignored everyone because they are the experts. They are smarter and they know more than anyone else. And then when things began to unravel, exactly as they were warned that they would, they ignored everyone. As airstrikes wound down, the Taliban started massing fighters again. First, we saw as few as 25 Taliban fighters could get an entire Afghan outpost to surrender. Then we saw Taliban begin to mass thousands of fighters to surround major cities. Then, no longer worried about airstrikes, we saw the Taliban methodically begin to cut off Kabul from the rest of the country. And then isolated, running out of fuel, and with no way to mount a real defense, Afghan security forces abandoned posts, Afghan leaders fled the country, the Taliban marched right into Kabul without any resistance, and we are now witnessing horrific scenes of tragedy and chaos. And what lies ahead is even more dangerous for America. Al-Qaeda plans to come back to Afghanistan, to rebuild, and to threaten us once again. And the Biden administration doesn't have a credible plan to keep that from happening. So you want to know what we're facing now and why this is a catastrophe? It's all because incompetent and arrogant people in the Biden administration came up with a stupid plan. They wouldn't listen to everyone who warned them about how stupid it was, and then when it began to fall apart, they refused and they failed to adjust.